Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching a video called Most Brutal Crashes in F1 History. It looks like a very stressful video because obviously it's going to be like a compilation of crashes, but I can only hope that the people that were involved in the crashes turn out to be okay. I don't know how common it is for, obviously like crashes happen. I think not all the time, but obviously it's a very commonplace experience. It's like a workplace situation, a common workplace situation. If you're a Formula One driver, like you're going to be involved in a crash at one point or another. That's what I'm guessing. But I don't really know how like common it is for drivers to actually get like serious injuries from all those crashes. I'm guessing not that common, hopefully, because otherwise I don't think like that's a sport that would exist if people were like dying left and right or being like seriously injured in some capacity, like broken bones or like concussions or something. So maybe it's not that serious. Like I'm guessing we're gonna be seeing like a lot of crashes, but maybe they were like it's worse than it looks. Hopefully it's that case scenario where the thing looks awful, but it's like no, the driver turned out to be okay. Hopefully, because I don't know, like I get how common it is for people to get like serious injuries from this sport. So let's check it out and comment, like, subscribe, and start.
Hamilton's devastating crash to Verstappen's dramatic incident, which
he
destroyed a F1 driver's career. These are the terrible crashes that changed
because
F1
of a crash.
forever.
An absolutely smeared championship protagonists have taken each other.
And we gotta start with
on top of the other.
Alonso. In 2016, Alonso crashed badly as he went flying against a wall in the Australian
Badly is an understatement.
Did get airborne.
Oh my god, all the bits and pieces of the car are just
He went
flying.
through the air before coming to rest upside down at 200 miles
Oh my
per hour.
god.
Luckily, he wasn't seriously injured and was capable of escaping his
Insane
McLaren.
that he
But
just
trust
like
me, guys,
he just gets up.
that's nothing. Because what Max's father, Jos Verstappen, suffered from was one of the most infamous fire incidents in F1 history. At the 1994 Hockenheim race, Jos came to the pits after 15 laps, hoping for a regular pit stop. But instead, he experienced the shock of his life.
Oh, the thing caught on fire?
Fueling hose and ignited his hot car. This became a huge disaster, as Verstappen in his car and his surroundings caught fire. Everything went up into flames, and it was suddenly dark and black, and I couldn't breathe. Despite this disaster, pit stop refueling still remained in F1 till 2010. But eventually, after several more incidents occurred due to refueling, it got banned for good. But even though Jos survived
I'm so
this
confused about the refueling situation.
Another driver couldn't, which not only made headlines,
someone
but
died?
also became one of the worst moments in F1's history.
Oh my god, I'm in shock.
In 1994, the crash at the San Marino GP changed F1 forever.
Oh my god, someone died?
An Austrian driver who had competed in just 3 F1 races,
Just
crashed
3,
his car
okay, so it was a
into a
newbie.
wall at 195.7 miles per hour during qualifying, resulting in his loss. But unfortunately, that wasn't all.
Oh my
Ayrton
god.
Senna, one of the best F1 drivers in history, crashed and passed away the next day due to one of the most horrifying crashes in F1 history. There are even rumors that the Brazilian was considering not competing in the Grand Prix because he was so devastated by Ratzenberger's passing.
Oh my god.
Sadly, Senna made the decision to race, and on lap 7, he lost control of his vehicle and hit an exposed concrete barrier at a speed of about 192 miles per hour.
Of course, it's
This
brutal.
incident created a great deal of changes in F1, with more emphasis
so they
being
changed
placed
the
on the
thing.
safety of F1 drivers. To minimize dangerous detachments in crashes, testing methods for tire barriers were made mandatory. Barriers were secured by rubber belts,
Of course,
and
because it
wheel
was
tethers were
concrete.
adopted. But while these terrible crashes changed F1, some crashes also crushed one F1 driver's
of course, I hadn't
reputation.
noticed. Yeah, it was
And
concrete.
we all know which Russian driver I'm talking about.
I don't really know.
Mazepin's rookie season made some big headlines, but not for any good reasons.
So he was a bad driver or something?
Laughing stock. Even before his career got started, he was already being judged. And when he crashed in the first race of the year, obviously it didn't help him.
But what, he had like a bad
Seriously,
reputation?
guys, crash in the first race. I mean, come on.
Well,
Even
I'm guessing it
Sergio
wasn't the
Perez
first time it happened.
repeatedly called him an idiot at the Portuguese Grand Prix.
Okay,
Also,
everyone
his
hated
relationship
him.
with ex-teammate Mick Schumacher also deteriorated, and to the point where Mick even declared that he wanted to finish him. Oh boy.
Okay, so he was. Everyone hates him.
But while this Haas driver's crashes were simply ridiculous, another Haas driver was also involved in a crash.
Okay, so he was like not a good driver.
But also changed F1 forever. During the opening lap of the 2018 Bahrain Grand Prix, Romain Grosjean was involved in a terrifying crash.
They're all terrifying, I would guess.
67 Gs when he crashed into a metal barrier at 119 miles
It's metal
per hour.
barriers, that seems bad.
Split his car into half and caused
Split
an
his
explosion.
car?
Grosjean was trapped in the cockpit for 27
seconds seems
before
like
he managed
so
to
long.
escape through the raging fire. But later, he revealed that the main reason he's alive is because of the halo, which definitely has become a huge part of F1 safety.
What's the halo?
But despite the safety precautions, some crashes were simply unavoidable, especially when it looked like a driver would do anything to harm their teammates' chances of winning. And we're, of course, talking about Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Despite winning both Constructors and Drivers' Championships, things got personal for the
Well, yeah, they're in the same
drivers,
team. They have the
especially
same
at
uniform.
the height of it. When the pair took out each other on the opening lap at the Spanish Grand Prix, the crash was so bad that it not only fractured their already tense relationship,
so they hated
but also
each other.
had Mercedes threaten to sack both drivers.
Oh my god, they were about to fire them.
The pair were actually childhood friends, and even
oh my god, yeah, they're so small, they're tiny.
And got ruined to the point where Lewis even told Mercedes that he didn't want to race for them again. Niki Lauda also stressed that both drivers pushed each other to the limit, hence the crash. But turns out, this crash was nothing.
That's
compared to
that's
the crash
sad.
that
I ruined
Niki
friendship.
experienced during his racing days,
kids.
which was so devastating that it forced F1 to make changes. It was 1976 German Grand Prix. Bad weather and track coverage meant that parts of the Nürburgring circuit
Bad weather, that's the culprit.
What's interesting is, even though Lauda was the fastest driver on the circuit, he still expressed his displeasure with the track and asked his fellow drivers to abandon the race. But unfortunately,
and I'm guessing no
he
one
was
wanted to.
outvoted, and as such, the race went ahead. And sadly,
Should have listened
at
to
a
him.
notoriously dangerous Bergwerk corner, he lost control of his Ferrari, veered off the track, collided with a wall, and his car burst into flames.
Oh my god,
the
that's terrifying, that thing cutting into fire.
Severe burns to his head, hands, and inhaled hot fumes that damaged his lungs.
Oh
and
my
after being
God.
taken to the hospital, he fell into a coma and was
A coma?
even given his last rites. But
They thought he was gonna
survived.
die.
Thank
Oh, he
God.
did.
But while
Yeah, it's true,
Niki
he was
Lauda's
older.
crash became a defining moment in his career, Nicholas Latifi's crashes
Did he
were
drive again?
also
Probably
pretty
not.
much defining, but not in the way he wanted. In the final laps of the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Latifi ruined it for Mercedes. Hamilton
Ruined it,
forwardly
that's
cut
bad.
after Latifi crashed into the barriers. But as apologetic as Latifi was about the incident, he did little to change his Latifi status, as he also crashed behind a safety car at the Monaco.
I'm sorry, but I'll do it again.
A safety car. I mean, come on. How does that even happen? Well, this is what Latifi said. The throttle didn't get stuck, but it was like the throttle got stuck. It was very strange and surprising at the same time.
I think he just did
going
it.
so slow there. I was just a passenger at that point. The car is driving forward, and I'm not on the gas, so I don't know
Okay,
what's
so he
happening
blamed
here.
the car. He was like, I don't know what the car's
That's one way to
doing.
put it. But remarkably, that wasn't all. During the Japanese Grand
I'm
Prix
guessing he
practice
did it
session,
himself.
He got lost and turned down a dead end. And instead of continuing down the track layout, he made a 180-degree turn and went the wrong way. This obviously didn't go unnoticed. But instead
This
of
is a nightmare.
once again, he blamed the incident on the car being strange. Go Latifi, go Latifi. What a guy. But while Latifi's crashes luckily didn't cause any serious harm, unfortunately,
I love it.
can't
Just
say
blame the
same
car,
thing for
always.
Antoine Hubert, because as we all know, the crash he was involved in was simply devastating.
Oh,
in
no,
the
what
Belgian Grand
happened?
Prix, the F2 driver was involved in a high-speed crash. On the second lap, Hubert collided into a barrier near the high-speed Eau Rouge turn and was then struck by another driver, Juan Manuel Correa,
my God.
which caused Hubert's car to be completely destroyed. Antoine
It's just
later
bits and
succumbed
pieces.
to his injuries and thus couldn't survive. But
Oh my
sadly,
God, he
that's not all.
died.
Because Formula One racing icon Jackie Stewart also experienced a similar incident at the same
Oh my God.
corner.
Oh my
Stewart
God.
was left
Again.
facing his end when he crashed his car at the Spa circuit, which left him
The
hanging
corners,
upside
oh my
down
God.
with fuel trickling down his face.
Oh
he
my
was
God, that's
safely
a terrifying
rescued from his
situation.
automobile by two other drivers, and since then, he's led multiple campaigns to increase drivers' safety.
Yes, of course, you dedicate your life to
His
it.
initial thoughts were that seatbelts were unnecessary and uncomfortable.
Oh.
But since then, he's
He
changed
changed his
mind after these
I'm
many
guessing he
new safety
changed it.
measures prevented from losing many drivers. When I was
Yes, of
starting in the
course.
Formula One world, the tracks were hideously dangerous.
It's
There were no
insane.
runoff areas, and it was just crazy. Ridiculous things like telegraph poles were up close and personal. But
That's
while Stewart
insane.
already changed his views about seatbelts, Carlos Sainz's crash still forced the FIA to dig deeper regarding its seatbelt rule. During
It's
the
not
second
mandatory for
practice
them
at the
to wear
Monza circuit,
seatbelts?
Carlos Sainz crashed hard into the wall at the Ascari chicane. The impact was so heavy that Sainz was pushed pretty far forward towards his steering wheel.
Oh my God, look at his
having
body.
seatbelt on. F1 fans
course, it's
got
just being
extremely alarmed by this.
Of course it's
But
alarming.
the FIA still noted that while Sainz's case was strange, it's normal for seatbelts to give a little impact because doing so is far safer for the human body.
Oh, because
than
then
when
you-
they
yeah,
are
you-
rigid. Even Michael Massey said, "I think the seatbelts are made to stretch. We will look at the seatbelt, as we do with any major incident.
I think I can understand why. You need some
and
give.
see what we can learn from it.
Yeah.
But even though
Otherwise
this
it's gonna be,
crash
like, way
created
too tough for
FIA
your
ways
body.
to improve the sport, another crash created dispute among Red Bull's teammates, which even
Oh my
led
God, it's
to
always
one
the
of them
teammates fighting
leaving
each
the
other.
racing team. At the 2018
He laughed.
Azerbaijan Grand Prix, both Red Bull drivers, Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo, crashed into each other while battling on the
Oh my
long
God, I
straight.
can't teammates
Both of them
fighting.
seemed to move under braking. Verstappen defended too hard, and Ricciardo attacked too aggressively, thereby resulting in a double DNF. After the race,
Oh, no.
Ricciardo even said that Verstappen's cutting into him annoyed him, and his frustration
They're gonna be
increased
both-
when
yeah,
he
it's gonna be
realized that the
frustration on
team
both
wouldn't
ends.
help him. We touched wheels a few times where it was always Max coming into me, as opposed to me going
Okay, so
into
you blamed
Max.
the other.
Part of me was waiting for the team to say cut the but never really got that. I'll say now, I was more just like, F you guys. Wow, I never
He
seen
had it.
Ricciardo angry before, but Ricciardo later explained that this Baku incident eventually made him leave the Milton Keynes-based team, since Verstappen was just ready to end his career. Even the team boss, Christian Horner, believes that Ricciardo was running from a fight with his teammate. And today, we all know who ended up where. Verstappen
Yeah,
is a two-time
he drives
champion,
for-
and
for
by
Red
looking
Bull,
at Red
right?
Bull's performance, he'll
Yeah.
be a five-time champ soon. Ricciardo, however, did return to Red Bull, but as a reserve
Oh.
driver to his former teammate. But still,
Ooh.
this crash was nothing.
I don't think that's a
compared to
good
what
thing.
Guan
You're
Yu
driving,
Zhou
you're coming
had
back as a
at the
reserve.
British Grand Prix. At the opening lap of the race, George Russell collided with the Alfa Romeo driver Guan Yu Zhou, which then sent the Chinese driver's car flying across the track, sliding
he's
on its
like
halo
backwards.
before being sent over a concrete barrier and into the retaining wall.
Oh
this
my-
crash
ooh.
was so severe, as
Ah.
Zhou was literally skidding while upside down for a considerable amount of time.
It's-
But
yeah, it
thankfully,
lasts for so
Zhou was
long.
unharmed, owing it
Oh
to
my
the
God,
halo,
it's
and he
okay.
confirmed on Twitter that the halo saved his life. The halo is just
What's
one
up
of
with
the
the halo?
numerous inventions that shows how much
I don't
F1
understand
has
what's the
advanced in terms
halo.
of safety and saved so
Yeah,
many
okay, good,
lives.
but I don't understand what it
unfortunately,
is.
We can't say the same for Jules Bianchi.
Oh my
this
God, another
young,
that
talented
died?
driver who was the first person ever to be in the Ferrari Drivers Academy.
Oh
had
my God,
his
stop.
dream dashed when he crashed his car into a 6,500
Into a
kilogram crane, which was clearing German driver Adrian Suttil's car. Suttil's
Oh
car had spun
my
out of
God.
control and crashed in the same spot the lap earlier. And as a
And
result,
it's in the
his
same
car was
spot.
still being cleared by the crane when Bianchi lost control of his car on the same curve and crashed into the crane at 78 miles per hour and ultimately
No.
lost his life.
No, that's
this
awful.
tragic incident forced the FIA to implement the 4-hour rule, which
What's
requires
that?
races held during the day must take place no less than 4 hours before sundown, along with modifications to track drainage and how emergency vehicles handle collisions.
Yeah,
even
but
if
I
these
thought- yeah,
drivers'
because I
crashes
thought it would slow
created some
down.
positive rule changes. Sometimes F1 drivers simply force the FIA to make a rule change, but this time
Because of safety?
it's just for their benefit.
Oh,
One
no.
F1 driver forced a rule change just to gain an unfair advantage in the
Can't
race.
you do that?
Another driver
That's the
forced
thing that
it,
happens.
which was so bizarre that it even changed F1's future forever. But who are these drivers? And what changes did they enforce? But more importantly, why? I know
Because
you
they wanna
want to hear
win?
more about this, so
Oh.
just click the video right here.
Yeah, I'm sort of like, I'm speechless on a lot of these things. When I started, I was like, I don't really know like how common it is for drivers to actually like die, but apparently it's a lot. I'm actually shocked by how many of them actually have died, and I'm guessing this is just a few of them. It's not all of them. Or maybe like if you put it in like comparison, maybe it's not that many as it seems. Like if there's like 10 I think 20, no, I think it's 20 drivers, 10 or 20, no, I think it's 20 drivers in throughout a season. So maybe like if like 2 die in the span of like 15 years. It's not that many. But if you see it like that, like throughout in a compilation, it looks like a lot of them died. Maybe if you like do the statistics, it's not that many. But looking at it like this, I'm surprised by how many people have died and have had like serious injuries in like while driving. I want to know, because I think it was Nikki something. He like the one who got like super burned. It was so sad that he was the one who was like, hey guys, we shouldn't really race, and then no one paid attention, and then he was the one that actually got involved into the accident. And I mean, that's gonna be like, it's not even ironic, it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, he was the one that was like, no, let's not drive, and he's the one that suffers like the consequences. Like, oh my god, that sucks. But I want to know, because he thankfully, like, he made it out alive. He was super burned, he got into a coma, he almost died, everyone thought that he was gonna die, but he didn't, which was great. I want to know if he actually like continued to drive, because a lot of these drivers, from what it seems, they just continue on driving. Like, even like one of the first ones, he was just like, the car looked awful, like the car crash was awful, the car was destroyed, and he just like walks out. He like walks out and it's like, okay, I'm good, guys. It's like, how are you okay, and how you actually like recover from this trauma, because it's a traumatic incident. So did you just go back and continue to drive as it was nothing? Or do they like, it's so horrific that I'm like, I want to retire, I don't really want to do this anymore? Like, I'm guessing like the guy that Nikki guy, I'm guessing he maybe didn't really like, he retired, I have to guess, because if you have like such an horrific accident, you gotta be like, no, this is it, guys. Like, you know what, I'm gonna enjoy my life in a safer environment. I'm gonna switch jobs. Although some others, I'm guessing they're gonna be like, because they love it, like it's the love of the game is like so much and it's so hard, they're like, I don't care, like I'm just gonna keep driving. So it's like, it's kind of crazy. Although the good thing on the flip side is that if you look at it, like again, if you look at the statistics, it's like the chances of you actually, like if you get into like this awful like accident, like the other guy that had like gas pouring out of like his face, it's obviously like super traumatic, of course, but do you like say, well, you know what are the chances of me like going into another horrific accident? Probably it's like very few, so maybe I'm gonna drive again. Maybe that's the logic. It's like, I love this sport, I love this, I don't really care, and what are the chances that I actually get into another like serious accident? Probably not that many, so I'm just gonna keep driving. But I want to know like what it is, like if all those drivers that get into like this terrible accidents, do they just continue to drive as it was nothing, and how long it takes them to get, if they do decide to continue, how long it takes them to get on the wheels again, to get behind the wheel and be like, no, you know what, I'm good, I feel safe, I'm good. Because a lot of these things, I think it's you know, it's confidence, that you have to be like very confident in yourself and in the car, and be like, no, you know what, I'm good, because you're driving obviously like this is an insane track and insane speeds. I think the most important part is that you're confident. So how long after a car crash does it take them to be like, I'm good, you know, I can drive? It's like, it happens, like, I am guessing it does. There's like a recovery process, and I'm guessing they have also like a psychologist, or maybe some professional, like a mental health expert or something that helps them get through this. Because I don't know if you're just like, after this horrible car crash, you're like 3 days later, you're like, I'm fine, I'm ready, like let's get behind the wheel again. And the thing that also like really did strike me, like I don't really understand what it is. It's two things. The halo situation, it apparently saved a lot of people's lives, but I'm not really understanding what's the halo. And the other thing, it's the gas. I hadn't thought of that, because I'm thinking like it's just like the gas tank, like it's gonna last throughout the whole race. But apparently no. Or maybe like it is, because I think it's banned these days, so I don't really know how like the car like drives itself. But I hadn't thought of that. It's maybe a little bit silly, but yes, of course I have to refuel, because there's like, again, you're driving for quite a bit. It's not just, 10 seconds. It's like you're constantly like, you're driving, it's laps after laps. And I think this races probably last more than an hour and a half. And obviously you can't have like a tank that it's like very big, because the car is tiny. So how many times do they have to refuel? How's the gas situation? It's insane to me. Like and it looked insane that they're just, you have to refill like the gas when you're like inside the car with so many like electrical parts. Like it's a miracle that the things don't blow up more often. But I want to know like the gas situation. That made me very, very curious, because like it wasn't something that I had thought of. I was like, maybe it's just like you fill your tank and that's it. But it doesn't really make a lot of like logical sense. They do have to like, they have to refuel, or maybe they're just electrical now. Maybe they have electrical cars. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, this was incredibly interesting and kind of terrifying and traumatic at the same time, but very fun nonetheless. So yeah, that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.